Now, you might still be wondering, but Leo, can open-mindedness go too far? What happens if I become so open-minded and then I go down the rabbit hole, start believing all sorts of fringe theories, and then just waste a bunch of my time and so on? Well, here's the thing. Open-mindedness has to be tempered by being grounded in direct experience and also by being honest when you truly don't know something. So the difference between what I'm telling you here and something like a flat earther philosophy or some conspiracy theory that's like Alex Jones style stuff or David Icke or whatever, the difference between what I'm telling you and that is that yes, you're open-minded, but also you're honest with yourself about what is actually truly in your direct experience. So somebody tells you there's reptilian overlords who are conspiring to dominate mankind and all of this. Okay, but are you conscious of these reptilian overlords? Are they in your direct experience? If not, then you have to be honest about that, and then you have to say to yourself, I don't know. I don't know if there are reptilian overlords. And then this is what now grounds you, and it keeps you from floating off into all sorts of fantasy that is possible if you're open-minded, but then you're not paying close attention to direct experience. Then you can veer off into fantasy, and you can start believing into ghosts and UFOs and this and that and all sorts of crazy stuff. And then you get lost in that. That becomes a distraction in and of itself. And conspiracy theories are very toxic and very cancerous and problematic. I'll probably cover that in a separate episode in the future. So yeah, you do have to be careful. Open-mindedness is not a license for wishful thinking and wild speculation. It's not a license for just guesswork, where it's like, well, I think that there's some crazy shit happening over there. I haven't seen it, I haven't experienced it, I haven't verified any of it, but I just all believe in it. It's like, no, that's fantasy. That's not your direct experience. So you do have to be very ruthless with keeping yourself grounded in direct experience, but also open, because your direct experience can change significantly. So you have to be open to that. Open-mindedness is also not a license for us versus them fear-based conspiracy theories. I see and hear a lot of these lately, where there's some secret cabal of people, some overlords and elites who are taking control of the earth, and it's us versus them, the little guys versus the big guys. You know, it's the populists versus the globalists. It's the progressives versus the neoliberals. It's the whatever, the humans versus the reptilians. You know, stuff like this. This just reeks of fear and us versus them, you know, sort of dualistic thinking. So, again, is this really truly in your direct experience, or are you just projecting these overlords and these elitists? How many of these elitists have you actually met? Have you actually gone and talked to the CEO of a Fortune 500 company? Have you sat down and had a 3-hour conversation with that CEO and actually got his perspective about business and the economy and how to run a company and what kind of problems exist with running a giant corporation? No, none of this is your direct experience. You just have theories and projections, and you're just projecting your angst and survival needs onto what you see in the news and stuff like that. This is not direct experience. This is not true open-mindedness. This is wild speculation and projection, which is actually a form of closed-mindedness, which is why all these conspiracy theorists are actually really closed-minded people. When you start to have conversations with them, they get very closed. You can actually feel that energy off them. They get kind of hot, agitated, neurotic. They start to attack. They start to, become unreasonable and start calling you names and things. And they start protesting and, kicking and screaming and bitching and moaning. All of these are signs of ego. This is not how a conscious, open-minded person behaves that's grounded in the truth, grounded in love, grounded in consciousness, grounded in selflessness, who's transcended fear. All these conspiracy theories are fear-based. which is why I don't traffic in them. So you also have to be careful because the ego loves, since it's the devil, ego, devil, same thing. The ego loves to co-opt open-mindedness in order to spread its own ideology, conspiracy theories, and to fearmonger. So see, somebody else will come here and say, oh, well, Leo, you're not open to flat earth. You're not truly open. You're making fun of flat earthers, but I'm a flat earther and I know flat earth is right. And that's because I'm open-minded. And Leo, Leo, look at how hypocritical you are. You're sitting up here and you're telling us to be open-minded, but you, Leo, you're actually closed-minded because you don't believe in my anti-vax conspiracy theories, and you don't believe in Alex Jones, and you don't believe in David Icke, and you don't believe in this, and you don't believe in that. But open-mindedness does not mean that I'm going to believe in all the fear-based shit that you believe in. See? And also, I'm not perfectly open-minded. Like I said in my series on self-deception is always operative. No matter who you are, how smart you are, how conscious you are, how enlightened you are, it's always operative. You always have to be on guard and careful with self-deception. So I'm always capable of self-deception. Sometimes I am closed-minded and I apply the lessons that I'm teaching you. How do you think I learned these lessons? By observing my own closed-mindedness. I didn't read this in any book. I spent years observing my own closed-mindedness and my own ignorance and have learned these lessons, and now I'm imparting them to you. And so even though I learned these lessons, I'm not perfect at executing them. Sometimes I am closed-minded about certain things. So again, it's not about a binary of being open or closed. It's about how open-minded are you? How well do you apply it? How good are you at noticing when you're being closed and then opening yourself back up?